Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Triple W podcast. We are so happy that you're still tuning in. You're still having a good time because we are, despite all of the ups and downs that is the Wizards season. Tonight's going to be a short episode. It's going to be brief because, as you all know, the Wizards haven't played in over a week. This is, I believe, day 8. So we're going to keep things fun and lighthearted despite all the craziness that has happened. I'm Becca, and I'm here with all my girls. I'm going to start off with my song of the week, which I told the girls they were going to laugh. My song of the week is Everybody Dance Now, because in my workout class, they had it, and I was like, oh my God, I need to add something different, something a little retro to the mix. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to pass the ball to Bree. Bree, what have you been listening to?
Hey, everybody. So my song is actually dedicated to the Wizards. This is some difficult times right now. And so it's a song by Maya, and it's called Space and Time. And it's basically saying, when you have some space and time, you're going to feel much better. You're going to heal better. You're going to feel better. And so hopefully that's what happens after COVID has passed and everything like that, and they're back to playing. Just take the space and time to rejuvenate. And Carita, what are you listening to?
Well, I'm going to switch it up this week, and I was listening to my Spotify playlist, and I was in a reggae mood. So I'm going to take it back to Serrani, No Games. That used to be my song. It just brings back memories. I won't share them, but it does bring back
memories. What memories?
We'll talk about, well, we do have time, but we'll talk about that another show.
We'll talk about it afterwards because we don't have to go on the show.
I guess it's my turn for my song. So very similar to Becca. I heard this song. It came on my Peloton playlist, and it was like, you know what? This is such a nice, freeing song, and it's Spirit by Beyonce from the Lion King soundtrack. It was on the MLK playlist yesterday, so I've been singing it for the last 24 hours.
You can't go wrong with Beyonce, can you? I mean, seriously. Well, there's not much going on in Wizard World, but this is a Wizards podcast, so what's going on, girls? Yeah. What's happening?
So, yes, as everyone knows, the Wizards, we've basically had this week off because the Wizards have not played, which is unfortunate. The news started with, we found out that a few Wizards players had tested positive. Then one of our fellow reporters, Fred Katz, tweeted out that there are now 5 Wizards players that tested positive. And we were just like, oh my goodness, like what's going on? And they had to keep postponing games. And so we were able to get on a call with the Wizards GM. All of us were on this call. And Tommy Shepard and Scott Brooks were talking, and they were, explaining to us what's going on. And they dropped that there's actually 6 players that tested positive. And so it was like, whoa. And so it was like each day it was like more and more and more. And now recently, another one of our fellow reporters, Ava Wallace, she has said that there are 7 players, including a staff member, that have tested positive for the coronavirus. I mean, it's scary to think about, how quick this is spreading, or just how quickly they are releasing how many players are testing positive. I mean, what did you guys think when you guys heard this news?
I mean, it was crazy. I think we were all suspecting, and we were talking because it had been quiet for a couple of days. And we were like, maybe there's more people who have tested positive. And then boom, right? It was like 5 players, and it was 6, and then it was 7. And when we talked to Tommy Shepard, there were no staff members that tested positive. And he was really happy about that. And now we have a staff member that has tested positive. So that's changed. So it's just been a little bit of a domino. And So far, it's been quiet after that 7th positive test. So hopefully they test negative going forward. But it's definitely a blow. Like the Wizards have been hit hardest. And like Tommy Shepard said, they played some teams that had positive tests after they played. So, but for whatever reason, the Wizards have had way more than those teams and are just being the hardest hit in the NBA right now.
Yeah, the first outbreak.
Right. It's definitely the first outbreak. And I thought the exact same thing, Carita, that you were just mentioning. I think it was the 76ers. I think Seth Curry had a positive test. This was after the Wizards played them. I think the Celtics, they had a positive test. I'm not sure who.
It was Jason Tatum because
exactly, it was Jason Tatum. Exactly right.
Yeah, Brad had come in contact with him, and that's when he had to sit out. But I think he's okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was just like, you hated to think, wait, is someone going to end up positive on the Wizards? And I mean, this thing has been going, other teams have been dealing with it, but I think to Becca's point that you were just going to get to, Becca, the Wizards have been hit the hardest. This is a legit outbreak.
I mean, the first NBA outbreak, and I think it's so Wizards that, of course, it happens here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, when Tommy Shepard told us about all the players that were tested positive, I kind of suspected, well, every day they're going to take new tests, right? And there's going to be more people that could potentially have it. So when Fred Katz was reporting, when Ava was reporting, it wasn't a surprise, but it certainly doesn't make me feel good. I'm just hoping that the more tests they continue to take, it stays at 7 players and 1 staff member. If that's what happens, then they're lucky it's not worse, because that spreads very quickly and very contagious. So,
and as we look at this, of course, each game is being postponed because the Wizards do not have enough players to play in these games.
Right.
So what do you guys think is going to happen? Because this season has been shortened, but now it's just like it's extending for the Wizards because now they're getting, they still have to play these games. I mean, hopefully they'll come back stronger than ever and, they'll get to have a chance to play in the playoffs. But even if they are not able to get in the playoffs, I'm sure these other teams want to play us to possibly, up their chances to be in the playoffs too. So all these games matter either way. So what do you guys think the league is going to do?
So I think it'll be interesting because, they only put out the first half of the season schedule. So I'm assuming that they're going to pack these made up games in the second part of the season. But it seems like any way they could do it, it would be hard for the Wizards because they would have to play so many more games to catch up because this is 5 postponements and that's so far. So I could only see that happening. But like I said, it just seems like it'll be harder on the Wizards.
Yeah, I'm just not sure at all how they are going to. It's like, at what point does postponed games turn into canceled games? Like, are they just going to end up canceling some of this? Then it all gets fuzzy, right? About who makes the playoffs, the different records, the standings. I really don't even know what the NBA is going to do. I'm anxious to see how they respond specifically to the Wizards case because they're missing the most out of all of the teams right now.
Yeah, I want to let Becca talk, but I do want to circle back to something you said. But go ahead, Becca.
Well, I was going to say that unfortunately, the Wizards are the first, but they won't be the last with an outbreak. This is just the way that this virus has been spreading. So I have a feeling that the Players Association and the league are going to have to make a decision, like to Candi's point, like, do they have to cancel? Because after a certain point, they can't make up all those games. If they do, we'll be playing until December of the end of the year, and we'll have to delay the next season. So it becomes a point where they have to make that decision. And I think, like to Carita's point, the first half of the season is out, but they haven't made the second half. And I think they've done that strategically because they haven't been able to maneuver this virus correctly, or they're unsure of the future. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think it's because they're unsure of the future. But something that you both brought up is like hearing from the league. Yeah. We haven't heard anything from the league as far as the Wizards outbreak. I know it's a team issue, but it's also a league-wide issue because of the postponements and the fact that it's a full-on outbreak. So I am surprised that the league has been so silent on the situation. Like you don't have to tell us the plan because maybe you don't know the plan, but to not speak on it or even acknowledge it is strange to me.
Yeah, it's been strange. I'm glad you brought that up, Carita, because we're going back to Seth Curry testing positive against the 76ers. It was like, okay, none of the Wizards came up through contact tracing. All right. Then with Brad coming up through contact tracing against the Celtics, I think Brad was only out for 2 days, right? They let Brad come back. And it's like, all right, but something in between all of that happened, in my opinion. I mean, Tommy Shepard did share, because the question was asked on the press conference last Friday, how they believed, the Wizards contracted the virus. And he said that he believed that it was on court exposure. So if the team has been engaging and playing against these teams that had positive cases, why wasn't there more time spent in contact tracing? I think that is a league question, and they have definitely been radio silent on this specific issue.
Absolutely.
I just don't understand.
If one person on a team is testing positive, they have been in contact with their other teammates. So it doesn't matter if it happened the day before or they've been in contact with those teammates and with the staff. So that whole thing should be shut down too. Yep. I mean, if you wanna really dead it, right then and there, like. So I don't know why.
Every few days, so it's like, who's to say that Bradley Beal has contact tracing, or from Jason Tatum or Seth Curry, or it's a ripple effect. So we don't know exactly where. I don't think there's a way for them to definitely pinpoint where the source of the virus, or it's very difficult, especially since they play every few days. How can they keep up with that?
It is difficult, but that's why it seems like they need a better plan. Like maybe you just pause for a second to make sure, and then you would not have these ripple effects as bad.
But I agree.
Yeah.
What can we say?
Yeah, it will be interesting. And, going with all the games that were postponed, one of them was the Martin Luther King Day game, which the Wizards have played on Martin Luther King Day for years. And so I think this is probably the first time in Brad's career that he hasn't played on that day. So, and that day means a lot, not only to the players, but to, of course, the world. As we know, MLK has a great connection with DC. And on this day for the past 5 years, it's actually been a really good day for the Wizards. They've won 4 of their MLK Day games over these past 5 years. And this year they would have played the Cavs. And even though the Cavs, they were, they're kind of on the move, but they haven't been doing so great, right? So we would have kept the streak going. And so it's really sad to see that, that they weren't able to play on this day. But I did want to give a quick shout out to the Atlanta Hawks, because they definitely showed out with representing for MLK. As many people saw their uniforms that they are wearing, their city edition uniforms that say MLK across it. The colors within the uniforms are black and gold, representing MLK as an alpha man. Those are the alpha colors. And on the side of their shorts, they have stars on them, which actually represent the times that MLK was arrested while he was fighting for civil rights. And on their court, it was so pretty. They changed their logo to represent a stained glass window, which you see in a lot of churches and cathedrals and everything. So I thought they did a great job with representing, and I can only imagine what the Wizards would have done as well. So that's all I have for the Wizards. We're wishing nothing but the best luck for everybody on the team to get well soon. and just recover. Space and time.
Space and time. Hopefully we can
keep it alive.
Absolutely.
So you got what's going on.
All right. So yes. Get well soon, Wizards, because we're missing you guys. We were all 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the rest of the NBA was off. There's a lot going on as usual. And one of our favorite people that I feel like we've been talking about every week since we started the podcast because we have. James Harden was finally traded last week. Finally, right? Finally.
He got his way. He got his way. He stopped his foot enough, I think, and he got his way. And he was traded in a blockbuster trade involving 4 teams. It involved the Rockets, the Nets, the Pacers, and I feel like I'm missing somebody, you guys, and the Cavs. The Cavs, yeah.
Those are the 4 teams, yes. So, blockbuster trade. James Harden is finally alongside his former teammate, Kevin Durant. Everyone also knows that Kyrie Irving just joined his team again today. We'll get to Kyrie in a moment, but I do want to ask the ladies. Got James Harden in the East now. I'm like, I don't want him in the East. Keep him out of the West, but he's in the East. What do you all see? Do you all see the Nets making an even bigger impact than we had already projected in the East, and how they're just going to measure up now across the league overall? I will start with Carita because I feel like you got something. I feel like you want to say something.
No, I mean that I was looking at Becca's face because she looked like she got some thoughts over there. But
listen, I'm just gonna put it like how Candi said, we don't want you in the East, James. We don't want you, period. Like, you've been kind of funny these days, but anyways, yeah, like if James Harden came and he had his debut game, if he keeps playing the way he played the other night, we're gonna have trouble. I don't know, guys. It's just crazy. If they can get Kyrie on board, then that's really what's scary. But I don't know
that's
how.
Gonna be the real test.
That's the real question that we're confused on. But James Harden, he came to the Nets and he looked like a different person. He looked like he lost 50 pounds in 2 days. He looked like but he either looks like, way out of shape, like, your uncle at Thanksgiving, or he looks like a bodybuilder. So I don't know what's going on, but clearly the shift for him has been great. So, but bad for us. So
definitely bad for us. They have their little super team now. So, and James Harden, he was always talented despite his ruckus over in Houston. He was always talented. So he's still talented, and bringing that to the Nets, bringing that to the East, it's definitely going to be a problem. I mean, Kyrie and KD were a problem on their own. So we thought they were a little shaky here and there, though. But now that you have James Harden in the mix, that might make up for some of that imbalance that they were experiencing here and there. We'll have to see. But like you said, when we add Kyrie to the mix, from a perspective of how they mesh, that will be interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm. It will be, because that's what a lot of people were saying. This is like the honeymoon phase. Like, yay, we're teammates, we're best friends, and that's the same thing that happened when KD joined with Kyrie, and then all of a sudden, then all this other stuff happened with them. So it's definitely a wait and see game. We just have to. What's gonna happen?
Yeah, it's absolutely a storyline that we will definitely be tracking very closely, because we cover the Wizards, and the Wizards are in the East, and it's a hot topic. Absolutely. I can't believe James pulled it off.
It makes me angry as a Wizards fan. I mean, come on. Like, every time I think, okay, like, maybe we're going to go somewhere. We got Westbrook, we got Beal, we got Thomas Bryant. Like, we can actually, like, do something here. Like, it seems like our injuries pile up, and then other teams, they just get better somehow with all these trades. And, here we are once again in the same spot that we always are, just different players. So
Yeah, they are going to be trouble.
Thanks a lot, James.
Yep, and Carita, you said it. They built another super team in the East right before our eyes. Like that really happened in front of all of our faces.
Unfair.
And there was a lot of trade equity involved.
Yes. And a part of that, to our next what's going on topic, one of the pieces of that trade was Karis LeVert. The Brooklyn Nets moved him to the Indiana Pacers. And we want to give a shout out to Karis because as part of that trade package, he had to go through a physical. And in that physical, an MRI showed that he has a small mass on his left kidney. So we want to send a shout out to Karis, let him know that we're praying for him and wish him well. We saw that he shared that, sometimes trades are bad. No one wants to get traded, right? But that he shared that this trade probably saved his life. So
true.
Shout out to him. Wish him nothing but the best. And I'm sure he will come. He's out indefinitely, but maybe he can come back before.
Yeah. Like John Morant, he injured himself back in December, towards the end of December, and he was supposed to be out for 3 to 5 weeks, and he was able to come back faster, better, stronger. Like he's out here like killing it. So
yeah,
I do the same thing. Whatever Ja did, that's what
everybody else needs to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. So now we got to come back to Kyrie.
Oh no.
Our sage master. Kyrie started throwing out sage and then he left.
Maybe the sage told him he needed to leave.
He didn't even get to sage every building. He was supposed to sage every building that he was able to visit, and he didn't get to.
Maybe he needs a priest in there to like bless the place or something.
We don't know, but Kyrie is another person that we've talked about every week because he's been in the news. So Kyrie has rejoined his team after a 2-week hiatus for personal reasons. We do want to share a clip of Kyrie when he returned to his team earlier today.
Hi, Kyrie. I'm wondering if you were aware that you had violated the health and safety protocols and what that process was like for you in coming back and going through that investigation, one, and then secondly, what your communication was like with the team while you were away.
Happy to be back. Happy to be around these guys. Addressed the team, addressed everybody that needed to be addressed. Now it's time to move on.
I just was circling back on the health and safety front.
Happy to be back. Thank you.
Kyrie, how supportive have your teammates and the organization been during this time?
It's been great. It's been enough support for me to, feel like they have my back. And, that's all I can ask for. The support, not only me, but my family. I'm a hometown kid, so, things hit a little different when, family or personal stuff going on. And that's up to me to handle that as a man. But yeah, I just take full accountability for my absence with the guys and, just had a conversation with each one of them and we move on.
Hey, Kyrie, just wanted to ask, on a mental, maybe spiritual, emotional, even physical front, is everything okay with you?
It's hard to watch.
Wow.
It's hard to watch.
Wow is right, ladies. And it's like my heart goes out to Kyrie. Like a part of me is like my heart really goes out to Kyrie because I don't know about you all, but I just feel just reading his body language, it just seems like there's other stuff going on.
Yeah, there's clearly something else going on. He seemed very dejected, like he came back to work because he had to, but not necessarily because he wanted to. And I don't know, it could be personal stuff, but I have to ask myself, like, is his heart still in basketball? I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see, but he just really seems like he needs some time. And I think that they could give it to him, but you can't just leave.
Right.
Like he did, but I'm glad to see him back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just glad to see he's okay. I mean, although that video was hard to watch, I am sympathetic towards people who do go through, challenges in life, whether that's mental health, whether that's watching someone else struggle. Kyrie he's a pretty private person, so it's hard to, you know, pinpoint whatever's going on in his life. But to Candi's point, you know, he had his arms on the table folded and his head down. You know, it's not like he wanted to be there. I think his mind is definitely somewhere else, and I really hope that he's okay, because it's hard to see someone going through that, especially when we've seen him happier in other days, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he has a personality, you know. It's like, and everybody can tell that this is not him. And so, I mean, I'm glad that he was actually answering the questions and not just saying, like, you know, move on, or I'm not answering, or, you know, anything like that. Like, he was giving answers, and yeah, it was just really sad.
Yeah, it's definitely, it was tough. It was tough to watch. I have to ask this question because I want to hear you all's thoughts, because they definitely mentioned that Kyrie said that, you know, he talked to all of his teammates individually, but as a teammate, can they trust Kyrie? You know, maybe they have the type of relationship where they know exactly what's going on. So if he up and leaves, maybe they're ready for that. But is the trust factor there? What do you all think?
I'm gonna go
hard
with
to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he was completely honest with at least like KD, you know, that's his best friend. Like I hope that he was fully, you know, transparent with him, because then in that way KD can have his back and saying like, no, like, y'all, like, leave him alone, like, he's going through a lot, blah blah blah. But if you have, you know, it's still about the communication. Everybody just needs to know what's going on, and that was the biggest thing with when he was gone. Where was the communication? Why is everybody saying, I don't know, we don't know? And so I feel like as long as he was upfront and fully honest with at least one person, you know, we don't have to know everything. Like, it's not really like our right to know everything about his life, but hopefully there are people that he can trust. And if he doesn't feel like he can trust anyone to even, like, that he can't trust anyone to tell, then that's a problem as well. So hopefully at least one person on the team knows what happened, you know.
Yeah, I just wonder if they can trust him as far as not dropping off again and just disappearing and doing his own thing. Like, that's what I would be concerned about. Like, is he going to do that again? Which is to be determined. But I think if I was a teammate, I would wonder.
Yeah.
From what it sounds like, he wasn't talking to the coach, you know, Steve Nash, and he wasn't communicating with everybody in the organization. But to Bree's point, you know, as long as someone knows what's going on with him, you know, I think that's all we can ask at this point.
Yeah, we definitely want to wish him the best. I mean, yes, he's on a competitor team for the Wizards, but we do want to wish him the best and hope he is well, and hope that he has someone he can talk to and rely on, because folks are worried now. I was watching that clip earlier, and I was like, okay, now I'm worried, because this doesn't seem right. But to you all's point, it wasn't like Kyrie went completely like away and no one heard anything. He was still communicating, you know, within the community and with his family. And as critical as sometimes, because I enjoy watching Kyrie Irving play, and as critical as I know I can be at times, I did want to share some of the contributions that Kyrie has made over the last year. So yes, Kyrie should definitely still come to work and be accountable in that respect, and let folks know where he is and what he is doing. But he's doing some amazing things in the community. So we felt it was important to say yes. While we can be critical of his decision making in terms of who he talked to or not, we also have to be open and honest in saying he's doing some great things in the community. The last bullet there, purchased a house for the family of George Floyd. This was something recent. So shout out to Kyrie, that despite whatever he's going through, he's still making an impact, a positive impact at that, in the community. So wanted to shout that out. And before we close out on the what's going on in the NBA, we have to shout out former Wizard Kelly Oubre Jr. because he did an amazing job in the Golden State Warriors comeback win over the Lakers yesterday on MLK Day. Shout out to you, Kelly Oubre. We miss you.
Yes. And I like your hair, Kelly. It looks good. I like it.
We knew you would come back. Just how talented we know you are. We knew you would. You're gonna ease back into it. So just keep doing what you're doing. Ignore the haters. Ignore the refs that are soft. Just keep it moving.
And speaking of keeping it moving, it is time for our Women in Sports Spotlight. This is one of our favorite parts of the show because we get to highlight some amazing women in the industry. And this week, taking it back to a local level because some great news came out last week that Amber Nichols has been named general manager for the Capital City Go-Go. She is only the second woman GM in G League history. So that is right here in the DMV. So we absolutely love that. She also has a really close relationship with the Wizards for obvious reasons. The G League team and the Wizards are very close and they work together. So during Tommy Shepard's comments about the Wizards coronavirus outbreak, he also talked a little bit about Amber. So I'm going to play that clip.
Time for some good news. Couldn't be prouder. Amber deserves it. She originally came to the Wizards as an intern, worked her way up. She worked with the NBA. She worked with the union. She worked with the Go-Go in their first 2 years. It's a natural progression where she came in as director of player programs, assistant GM, and now she's the GM. And we're excited she's leading our team. Our 5 players that we'll send along with Erie to Orlando to the bubble down there. We're excited about her leadership and her future.
And also, I text with her today, and I have it on text, and I'm going to save it. When she becomes a general manager, I'm her number 1 hire as a consultant.
There you go.
Celebrate.
Always coming
Get out of here
with the jokes. But shout out to Amber. Congratulations. We love to see it. And I'll open the floor, ladies, if you have anything else to add.
I was going to say also, she's replacing Pops, who was the previous GM of Go-Go, and he was a great GM as well. So if she was able to, follow after his footsteps, that's great. And the fact that it's a woman, and I like her hair too. So it's I'm really excited for this. Unfortunately, we don't have the team right now, but when we're back up, that's going to be exciting to see her out there.
Very proud, very proud. I think Tommy Shepard also mentioned, Amber started out, as an intern very early on in her career, and just to see that natural progression and her work hard and get to this point, it's phenomenal. Congratulations to you, Amber.
That's very Eric Spoelstra. He started off as a video coordinator, and now he's the head coach in Miami. So yeah. Amber girl, you're gonna go places. This is just the start of your next chapter. So I can't wait to see her climb the NBA ladder because I know it's not gonna stop here. And from what we see from her, she's awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
So lesson learned, those internships can pay off. You can work your way to the top. So make sure you keep grinding.
And I'm sorry, really quick, but college students, don't wait till your senior year to do an internship. You can do an internship all 4 years if you have to. I did it for 3 years.
Start in high school.
Right. Get the experience. It is worth it. It is so worth it. She's a living example. So
you might be able to be a GM one day. So
we might be talking about you on this podcast. So that's incentive to start applying for those internships, if you ask me.
Right. And this is going off of all of our past women spotlights too, with that they are breaking the mold of what a woman in sports is supposed to do. So keep it up.
Keep it up. Shout out to women. So I guess, Becca, I'll throw it back to you to close us out.
Yep. We made it in not even 40 minutes. So props to us on episode number 5, despite all of the ups, which basically the only up that I can think of is the Suns win, and all of the downs, which is all of the players, half the team having COVID. We have made it to episode 5. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for following us. We really appreciate it, and we're having fun doing it. As usual, we're just gonna let you know where you could find us. You could find us at all of. I'm trying to point at everybody's.
I know.
You can find us at Becca MVP, at Vids by Bree, at Seawall Sports, and at Carita C Parks. And you can find us at triple W pod. I'm pretty sure. I feel like it's there it is. It's on the bottom of the screen. Better follow us. You can follow our personal pages. I'm at Wizards Extra as usual. Carita, your double take
sports at DBL Take Sports.
And then Seawall Sports and Entertainment. You better get on that Facebook because she's the only one who's killing Facebook. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Right. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you. See you next week.
Stay safe.